Alright, here are my problems with CSGO. Now, this is going to be a pretty simple video. It's not too complex in comparison to the other ones, really. But it does have to deal with my previous live stream a little bit about Fortnite and Team Fortress 2 and other Source Engine games, and even Unreal Engine 3. There's this problem where I'm not sure what tolerances that you have for players, but at a certain point, if they're supposedly running that bad of hardware in certain ways, I mean on the concept of specifically the processing of the netcode, because there's plenty of tablets and cell phones that do that. That's literally all they're built to do. Then what's going on is they're manipulating your netcode. And the tolerances are another thing that are unacceptable in Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Team Fortress 2 and a bunch of games. I'm talking about competitively in competitive modes. You can have other tolerances, but you can't allow people to play competitively when there's issues like okay, for example, I'll give you an example of a CSGO game that I had played recently. Now, it's the obvious end result of packet manipulation. The top player on the other team, let's call him Dave Faggotson. Dave Faggotson, he's the top player, okay? Now, Dave Faggotson says to himself, "Aw, man, I'm going to take all this damage and I'm not that good of a player. Well, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to tell the server somehow, and I don't know exactly how this works. I just know the primitive version of it on Xbox 360 and original Xbox. Call of Duty, even recent Call of Duties, somebody can have some of the cords in a little switch they actually put physically on their wired connection, and they'll be the one hosting. See, this is how I say it's internal, it's inside. They're allowing people to play this way because lag switches work by the fact that Microsoft is forcing you to pay for Xbox Live, same as PlayStation was, and a bunch of other things, while they still, to this very day, on their current Xbox One X, their current whatever you have you, their PlayStation 5, they're still making you host it on your own video game system. Somebody's playing the host even if it doesn't show it on a screen. They're not paying for servers. So why should you be paying for servers for online? It's bullshit. It doesn't make any sense. You're connected to one person's Switch on the Switch, one person's Wii U. So the problem here is that there's somehow, with the help, I assume, of the people operating the CSGO servers, the Fortnite servers, the Team Fortress 2 servers, anything, they're making it to where the server's tolerances are very, very high for the equivalency of lag switching. Like, and I know this is another thing, the reason why all the servers, including the initial, like, put you into a game finding a servers need to be found. And I mean while I'm searching, while other people are searching, because people think they're clever when they're not. So they're running a program, if they're trying to be sneaky, which I doubt they are, but if they were, they would still be running a program within you, the player, me, the player, trying to connect to a game server that makes it to where you're connecting to their personal server, and then they're, that's why I see a lot of, especially in CSGO, not as much Fortnite, incredibly low ping from the top scorers, the top players, and they don't just live close to the server, they're just hosting it, obviously. The amount of easy investigation and the amount of people that need to be stabbed viciously for the amount of hacking that they're doing. Vicious hacking, to be clear, like as if they're getting something out of it, as if it emotionally matters to them when it shouldn't in the slightest. It's too much. Like, so my point here is this. I don't know precisely what's happening, but basically I can describe it like this. I'm assuming that part of the packets they're manipulating, because I'm observing it in game, because there'll be some guy, for example, this is why I'm referencing the game that I played recently. He's got like 61 ping on average. It'll fluctuate up to 70 or something, 75, and go down, and these overlap. I'm saying, like, depending upon our packet signals, we'll be in the middle. Now, sorry, that was me. I was saying I was 61. Either way, it works though. Then he's like 51 ping, but he'll go up to 70. So we have this issue where their ping isn't any different, and yet when I engage in a firefight with them in the video game, my lines of light bullets, my calculations, it'll say I hit him once or that I hit him twice, And the problem with a game like CSGO, which is why I say this is definitely happening in it, is there's too much pre-preparation. Somebody can be wall hacking. If they're know who's operating the server and can get into it, then they could have 3D meshes on and textures off, which just means everything's lines you can see through. So they just directly hacking. And then as you come toward them, the reason why they don't even need to bother with an aimbot, which is why I say CSGO is the worst and needs to be shut down, because their netcode is being abused and everybody's responsible and involved. Just stop. Stop. You know, burn in hell. Is because I'll shoot them, right? And maybe the first hit is recognized, but they might have some sort of auto program that recognizes the first hit even, and then activates their packets are being dropped, but they're still in the game. But what I'm saying this is why the other issue is, as if they're dropping received packets. You see what I'm saying? Received packets, like my packets that are being sent to the server or to them are not being acknowledged as going to them. So either the server is saying they have packet priority while lying about it and saying that their packets pretending while they're putting a delay on my packets when it activates, that they, you know, at all engaged in anything first because the packets say so. Or they're hosting the server themselves straight from the search menus. Now, both of these need to be looked into, and I'm sure you'll find lots of people that deserve to be lynched, stabbed, shot, run over, and burned, because all they're doing is cheating at video games. And like you see on YouTube, you can't get opinions on YouTube, because as we know, YouTube has already said in my previous live stream that Team Fortress 2 isn't losing players because this is what everybody always does whenever a game has no players, because why would it? It's old. And it's pissing off its player base. No, we did a resurgence. We did a resurgence. You know? It's insidious. It's what people that know nothing about business trying to tell other people how to play fucking games and do things do. So let me describe to you the resurgence here. The resurgence is this. First it was World of Warcraft, then it's a bunch of other games. They have no players. Then they supposedly have players. You might join the server and there's no players. Right now, like, they'll pick new games in the future too. It could be Quake, it could be anything. Quake 3, oh no, man, there hasn't been players in 20 years, but they don't remember that, right? So they'll just say, no, it's a resurgence. Look there's a YouTuber who says the children don't matter about video games, especially a cartoony video game called Team Fortress 2, and that their inability to play on official servers with anything other than bots or cheaters doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, you see, because they're business brained. They just pretend like it's doing good, like it's what? Like it's Wall Street? I can get into a video game and do something. Imagine how stupid you are. It'd be like saying Subway's doing well. And they did do that, even though it's closed everywhere in the country except for where I am for some reason. Subway is not doing well. Their food is full of so many preservative chemicals, it doesn't taste like bread, it tastes like chemicals. Nobody eats at Subway, and I don't care how many people around me, as if because they saw me post this video, I'm going to say to their face if I saw them. Because what are they going to do? Walk up to talk to me and say they love Subway while I'm outside of it? Being in Subway doesn't prove you love Subway. I've seen people pay lip service to things they don't give a shit about it. This is what I'm telling you. They'll be paid by old people in appreciation, like only old people's appreciation matters, to say things like GameStop, that whole thing. It has a bunch of investors because it all failed and all the GameStop stores don't bother changing their fronts, but they're just randomly independently owned, the ones that exist, because it doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter to them. They genuinely don't care. I'm telling you right now. They just think that if they say the words, then somehow they won't be beaten up. Like, imagine how offensive what they're saying is. GameStop was a terrible job to employees, and it basically is a failure even then, because what they would do is they would tell employees to sell a game. Now, employees aren't robots. You have to imagine here. This all ties back into what I was saying about people pretending there's players in games, pretending games are okay, pretending everything. Same type of behavior. They'll do it anyways, even though they could work anywhere else. I mean, they could work at a Verizon wireless store and they'd be probably getting a better environment. They tell you to sell, but less aggressively. The reason why GameStop failed is this sole reason. They would act like you, as a person that's not working for a call service, this is actual employee abuse, that you had to sell a certain amount of games and ask for pre-orders, or else, not that they would fire you, but you would never get a raise, you have to understand. No matter what, even when the game place has existed the whole time, you have to realize this game, whatever the fuck, stop. And this whole 20 years, anytime, they haven't once ever acknowledged the concept that anybody anywhere ever deserved a raise. They don't have the concept of that while claiming they have it, which is also illegal. You can't do these type of things. You can't say that there's opportunity for advancement within your business, within your chain, franchise, and then there is none. Now, of course, this has to do with every franchise owner also being a piece of fucking shit, which is indicative of the overall corporate structure, as you would call it. Because I still call it a corporation, because everybody who ever owned a game store like this was a piece of shit. My point is this. They just say, in the same style you would if you owned a GameStop, no, the game is doing well because I want it to do well, because then everything's fine and then nobody gets to complain. It's an absolutely absurd concept. I'm complaining right now. Everybody's complaining. I encourage every single person to complain, and to complain every day about every video game that doesn't have players that they're lying about, that doesn't actually offer the netcode, like it's laggy or something. This is important because it's the same as saying, well, you have spare time now. What are you going to do with your spare time? How can you do anything with your spare time? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying I'm encouraging people to play video games all day. I'm not saying I'm encouraging people to play over 50 games of Fortnite really back to back together or anything. I'm just telling you that I've done the research and I've determined the causes, and it's obviously companies selling out. And what I mean by selling out is selling out to autistic man-child behavior. They hire multiple employees, Then when they have enough of them, they look the other way while they're 100% guilty, as they invite in their retard friends and they start modifying different values of servers for online play. And then they play the games. You see, hours of fun for the autists, zero fun for all the legitimate children playing the game. You have to realize that most of these people that are hacking, I haven't gotten a game with anybody that even sounds like a teenager in 2, maybe 3 years about. Like, it's rare. It kept getting rarer. They all sound like, 40-year-olds to about 55, even 60-year-olds, which they don't learn video games well. They don't know modern graphics and CG in video games and how to control them. They never learn. So they're inherently cheating. I'm just talking to you about human nature because the market's changed. The market is now cheaters. It's blatantly obvious. It's not funny. And I'll repeat over and over again. Children, you're going to make co-op video games for children from now on, because they don't want to play multiplayer when every time they get into a game, there's some 50-year-old man-child who sounds like, yeah, I'm talking like this, in their fucking game. Nobody's going for that. Nobody wants that. Now, people, again, I don't care if you make statements because they're not true, and I encourage other people to make counter statements. It doesn't matter how many YouTubers you get to say that my comments are irrelevant, how much you say that children are enjoying video games. I've seen them, the last of them that I was playing Fortnite with, saying everybody was a cheater alongside me, unlike these man-children adults that defend each other while playing both sides of a team. That's the other thing. Like, The final and most egregious part of all of this is, and I want everybody to focus on it, is like when you're playing a game, you don't really want anybody, and this is like the most important thing, to be able to know who you are in comparison to all the other players. See, for example, Fortnite, it allows players that are cheating to say they're anonymous, to cheat against players they know. They know who they are, they know their stats, and they're playing against them specifically to ruin their overall, like, supposed skill level in the game. And you'd say, if they're constantly cheating, then how would you ever have any stats? Well, you have accuracy stats. You have to realize that's why it's such cheating. And I know it's involved with Fortnite itself and other people, specifically when I'm talking about Fortnite here, but other game companies a little bit too. Not CSGO as much. They cheat the other way, like you're losing packets and your accuracy isn't counted. They'll count all your accuracy. They'll say that you did no damage, like I said with packets. Then they'll kill you after you did all of your accuracy, as if they're actually checking the accuracy of the players before finishing them off suddenly, right as the accuracy is at whatever point. So then it's like they have a supposed skill level, because they're all first-person shooters, as to how well a player plays. Then they're just cheating against them, and it's blatantly obvious. The final thing I have to say here is, for anybody disagreeing with my statements, let me say this. I've played a near infinite amount of CSGO, and the current lowest rank until it becomes something else, but this still remains the same, the whole time, was Silver 1. Now, Silver 1, I've watched other people play. You have to realize this is why YouTubers are propagandists, and there are people cheating against me and many other people. Because it doesn't matter if they're bad, it doesn't matter how bad they are, or if they're scared and turn off their aim lock every 5 seconds. They're still cheating, and they'll get bold in between. It's called being stupid. They just do whatever and pretend like it's safe when it's not a good move. So I'm in Silver 1, right? Why would the hackers want to be there? It's like the opposite of Team Fortress 2. That's why I'm pointing out they're just following certain players around based on their skill reputations. And I played CSGO long enough that there's permanent records of how well I played before the hacking got as bad even. There's just a lot of history of it. And they say, oh man, this is part of the reason why I was saying you have to realize it's not acceptable, because when they defend the other team while knowing them in some game, the other thing they're also doing is acting like it's not Silver 1, as if it's Golden AK. There's these ranks all infinitely up. You have to realize there's infinite ranks above me. Players shouldn't be able to tie their shoes. I should easily be able to kill them, right, at Silver 1. But no. Silver 1 players will observe tactics. They'll wait on doors. They won't rush. They'll never, ever, ever rush, even though everybody knows that Silver 1 players have all the characteristics that would make a player like me rank up instantly. Yet they'll wait every match consistently. They'll have infinite patience. They'll wait on the other sides of doors. They instantly fire, killing you with instant supposed nervous system response, even though it's hacking. They'll instantly trade sites perfectly. And here's the really cancerous part. My team isn't trying, because they're trying to fuck me over while defending the other team in all of these circumstances. So what they'll do is they'll not group up to one location, which is common even for Silver 1, the most common tactic in this video game, and they're disobeying it, which proves they don't play video games. They just want to ruin other people's video game experiences. They do this thing where they say, okay, well, we have to play worse than the other team, so we'll play like we're Silver 1 while the other team knows what's going on, at least allegedly, even though they're just staring through walls. So they'll wander around, not get to the site quick enough, not go as a whole cohesive group and split for no reason to another site for a split push, even though in Silver 1, that would be the rarest thing ever. You would never see that. They don't have a comment. They won't mention it when I say, could you stay with the team? They no longer bring this up. If you don't, especially if you don't say anything, they won't mention tactics while they continue to allow the other team to cheat this hard. How am I being placed? Right? This is still a conspiracy if this were the case. with all of the best players that are just about to rank up from Silver 1, which is the very lowest. There's infinite ranks. You have to realize one game they'd be above me. That's impossible. You see, what Sherlock Holmes said is, when you eliminate all of the, things that aren't possible, the last thing, no matter how improbable, is the truth. So why would I be in Silver 1? I mean, you can make a checklist of all these things. You're blatantly caught for what you're doing, cheating in every game, and it's why nobody cares that actually knows. They just don't play. It's Silver 1 because you want to pretend that I'm bad at the game. I'm telling you this. I'm telling everybody this. It's you constantly bitch for the other team, which proves that you're on the other team's side. I mean, what motivation would people have to bitch for the other team consistently, continuously, with emotion, and communicate with the other team in text chat as if they're visually trying to show me that I'm not, a part of the game at all, as if they're friends with them? Why are they dropping, why are they forcibly dropping my packets from hitting them, basically, from going to their server or from the server to their server or secretly to them in the server? They're doing all these things while I keep repeating I already should have leveled up, that are actually impossible for the rank they're in. They do the same thing in League of Legends. I'll be in Bronze 5. It's the lowest rank you can get. Iron, whatever, now. This is why I quit the game. You don't make up Iron just to put me in a lower rank. What's my reward for playing the game? This is why no one should play League of Legends, because the company is now completely defunct in the equivalency of wanting to give players an experience. I launched League of Legends, and what do they do as an example here to CSGO of why it's so much worse? They make up a new rank called Bronze. I mean, not Bronze, Iron, below Silver. And see, that's so bad then that it would have to be new players to the game. I play a bunch of placement matches, right? And each placement match, the players are insanely, impossibly good and refuse to give way even once. Then, before it's even over, as if they want to make sure that they can place me in a rank so as to get the emotional response they desire, I'm not sure quite what it is. They then say I'm already in in Iron, even though it used to, you have to play 12 placement games. I mean, not 12, 10. At some point, I think it was 12. Now, if any game, including CSGO, replicates over this behavior, then it means they actively, once again, are saying that you don't deserve to play the game and that they're aiding cheaters and feeling superior. That's why I'm saying it's illogical. Why would cheaters cheat in such a low rank? Back when I played CSGO, I'd have this argument with people for years while they would bicker with me, and this is the one specific thing they would whine about. They're complaining that why would they be cheating in such a low rank? Why would they be competing in such a high rank? You have to ask the same question either direction and sounds like what it is either way. Why would they be cheating in such a high rank if they're watched heavily the higher it goes and they're banned? Now, on the other side of things, why would they compete in, they should be in the middle zone, right? Not on the far extremes. They would never be on the extremes. And if they were, it would be high end. Because on the low end of things, anything that's blatantly cheating, it's not like as if they have twitch reflexes down to the millisecond. They're terrible players that forget their own fucking shoes. So why, like I keep repeating, do they think they deserve to act like this? Is why I'm telling all of you cheaters right now, why do you think you deserve to act like, and specifically CSGO, as well as other games, that no, they're cheating because it's a lower rank, even though it's blatant because all other players are worse. Even if it's an entire team, everybody just says an entire team isn't better than some other fucking, even individual player at such a rank. I would get kills, I would do things. But they are, and they consistently, and I mean over game after game after game, stomp my team in League of Legends and in CSGO, especially now. I used to, way back, get like a 50% equilibrium while at a low rank. But they stopped caring about that because there's not enough hackers left, I assume, because they're all man-children who consumed terrible diets and died of coronavirus due to being, weak. So it's turned into this concept where it's so blatant as of now that the video game servers have to be shut down because they're aiding and abetting. And it may not sound like much, but they're criminals. Like, you're aiding and abetting criminals in illegally modifying, processing, cheating, doing things with software for the sole purpose of nefarious, like, end goals. It's not good. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm sick of it. Like, why would I play any more online video games if this is the way every single supposed adult decides to make them operate and to cheat in them themselves? It's not a winning move to play online video games unless there's a cooperative aspect, so at least you're fine with getting your ass wiped all over the floor in the lowest ranks humanly possible. Like I already keep repeating, there's even prevention methods now, supposedly, which is why I say they're on the inside, because they'll do it. I'll play an infinite number of Fortnite games. CSGO, anything will have this thing where you kind of have to play enough game to determine whether or not you're legitimately like in the game. They're not being like watched heavily while they're playing a certain number of games to determine their ranking. They're not doing anything. They're not getting a ranking. And the ranking is just made up so that people say, once again, back in the day in CSGO, yeah, but how could they be cheating if they wasted time? Well, we all know that cheaters love wasting time. I mean, they say, haha, I'm wasting somebody else's time who's wasting their time in video games. Why else would you cheat? That's not, looking at it from a psychological, like you open up a book and observe human behavior, that's not a good argument. They're cheating and they're being aided and abetted in cheating. I mean, when every autist, retard, blue-haired, freak, retard said that they were in charge of Overwatch, the hacking was infinite, and it was not that long after they declared, even if they're just blocking me from connecting to Blizzard servers and I'm connecting to some Spurg's crusty Windows 98 computer that's somehow running the game overclocked while it's outside in the cold. That's the type of thing they're doing, just to drop frames, just to try to cheat. I guess it's kind of like when you're at such a... See, I don't want to dominate everything. I'd like to have fair matches. I have had them at points, even in League of Legends, occasionally. Over the years, over many years, all the way to this point. In Quake, I've had fair matches. I know what a fair match seems like. You see, when you're a cheater that has no nervous system ability in your hands, see, like, your eyes look like this camera viewing my hands move around even though I'm barely moving them. You see how... Now let me move them fast. Like, you know what I mean? Like how I would on a keyboard. You can't see shit. You can't see shit on this interpretive camera. Neither can some person who sat around not being an athlete all day. They claim that the fastest you can see is 24 frames a second. Well, I can see the difference between 120 and 144. I can see the difference between 60 and 120. I can see the difference between 60 and 96 frames, in between 120. I mean, it's called cardio. It's called eating your broccoli. It's called eating your carrots. It's called eating fruit and not eating nothing but corn syrup and white sugar glass. So these fucks, they act like only their perception matters while they're ruining all video games, as if they're too old to understand video games, but they're ruining my and everybody else's experience hacking at them. That's my final end goal, my final statement. If you're too fucking terrible at video games to understand that I'm better than a bunch of players at video games, well, then you're hacking. My movements are better, my elocution is better, everything that I'm doing, my tactics are better, and they'll just wait around and then just aim lock my head or something stupid in any fucking game. They don't try, and they don't think. They're very stupid, every supposed adult. We already knew that at this point. They talk about business all day while knowing nothing about business. That's why I'm saying, of course they would do things that are bad for business. They're shithead adults that are bored. You really think that anybody, I mean anybody, look at their behavior. They cheat on their wives. You could look up any late night show host. Jimmy, both Jimmys. Jimmy and Jimmy They cheat on their wives, so, investigate their computers. I mean, it's not fucking hard. I'm not saying hack in, but everybody illegally does that. I mean, people do that to my computer all the time, you fucking degenerates. Pay me. Pay me. I'm owed money for all of your illegal crimes. Well, if you went on their computers, at this point they're so bored that they probably cheated fucking video games. And if not them, then somebody else. Like, they deserve to be banned the same regardless of their position in life. Their internet provider deserves to be banned. And they deserve to be told by the company directly that if they catch them cheating again, they're going to fucking no. They're going to send a representative to their house to punch them in the balls over and over again till they have no more children and bleed out their dick permanently. Because I'm not having this. I'm not having this continuous up in the air bullshit about video games. I know what packet loss looks like, you know what I mean? I can check my ping on a board. This is as simple as it works. Once again, Sherlock Holmes. Okay, let's imagine a list of things right here that I'm pointing at. So on the list we have ding right here. First thing on the list. I have regular ping, sub 100, mid-range, like middle of 100, anywhere from 45 to 75. The next step here down the list is when I shoot them, I do less hits than I do, even though on my screen I was holding my gun on them completely. And if I recorded it, it would show that. The live stream is that. And then the step 3 is they have the same ping as me, right? If you were to put things here. And with this same ping, they're always winning, even though I started shooting first in CSGO or something and getting more bullets in that end with my health bar being, depleted before theirs. Now, you see how this is impossible because I'll even start shooting first, then I'm instantly dead. That's problematic when half the time they don't even score headshots. You see, not one of their supposed rounds, because the head's harder to hit, it's a video game concept, is hitting me in the head. They'll also make up random values, and I don't know how they're doing it, for the number of bullets it takes to kill in CSGO right now, currently. I got hit with one bullet because the guy, wanted it, and it wasn't a headshot. And I died to one bullet from medium range. And when I looked in the command console, which is why I say they're manipulating the values, it said 2 hits. Neither made the sound of hitting, the head armor that I am wearing in CSGO. It makes a sound to indicate whether or not they actually scored a hit. So he was blatantly cheating. He's blatantly modifying values. You can't hide this type of shit. It's direct. And when it happens, it needs to be dealt with, but with actual violence. Because you think these people aren't violent maniacs? They're acting like as if they embolden themselves with cheating at video games, then they try to beat on your little helpless, defenseless children because they're playing children's video games. They make up excuses why I'm a bad person because they paid some kid in Candy to read a bunch of shit at some point. Literally, I don't know why they did this, but I'm just showing people how stupid they are. As if this kid reading this thing will somehow make any fucking difference when he sounds like he's reading it on recording. It proves they have 0 IQ. It's a recording being played, not even through a program, but live into a microphone so I can hear my own voice feedback through the speakers, and it's uninterrupted. Whoever's parents that are deserve to be tortured to death. I mean, they're telling their child to read profanity at somebody in a video game. You can't get more retarded than that, is what I'm telling you. Imagine how stupid every person who claims that they're an adult are. Well, I've covered it Sherlock Holmes investigation style with bulletin points here throughout both of these videos that I've recorded for live stream here. And their comment is, nuh-uh, 'cause I say so. Nuh-uh, they would cheat in low tiers and it wouldn't be blatant because they totally wouldn't be bad at cheating because they can't hide it. And it would just be blatant because I say so. No, they are cheating. They're cheating because it's personal against me and other skillful players. And it's really easy to get those stats and trade them around on the internet. It's like stealing internet addresses back in the day. Everybody was doing it illegally, even when they would actually, because I don't believe there's any actual law and order really to this type of pathetic bullshit anymore. They would do it even when they were beaten to death back in the day. And I don't believe there was any law and order 20 years ago. I just pretend because people would obey certain systems better if you told them that you think that a system exists. It's long since time for that type of concept of that type of system to go. It doesn't serve anybody's interests anymore, and retarded man-children adults with enormous bloated, like, overall wearing farmer guts will wear business suits and act like it's not their first day defending some random company for letting 50-plus man-children cheat at video games. That nobody cares. I mean, the second that too many people quit or they die of cancer, coronavirus, get old, it's sort of a trade over. I've seen it. It's what Blizzard did. Then there's just retards cheating using the actual official servers. Like, there's nobody in the building, say, which is why you need somebody at least hired to keep people out of the building, like a security guard that's trustworthy. They move in and start acting like as if they're legitimately the business. They re-released Overwatch. What do you think that they were doing when they were re-releasing Overwatch with nothing changed to Overwatch 2, supposedly? You think that that isn't just an opportunity to start hacking at Overwatch 2, even though everybody already played it and is done? No, they're re-releasing it from the ground up with the ability to hack as hard as possible. I don't give a shit what anybody says. And personally, like I already say to Soda Cat, because I'm not trying to cause conflict, but I have to say that your brother, Lossie, he's in a relationship with somebody who maybe they work at Blizzard legitimately. It's been a bunch of years. But isn't that person also just enabling people to hack at Blizzard video games? And you see, here's the thing. You're never going to talk to me about this, Soda Cat. You don't give a shit, right? That fucking 9 Hydras on Twitter is probably enabling people to hack along with every other man-child. You don't really give a shit, which is the same as why your affection for anything and everything in life is kind of false. You're kind of apathetic because, of course, I'd have sex with you, but you're full of, white sugar glass, and everybody else's dicks and pussies and shit are too, and I would just rip you up because my dick is made out of, like, rough rye bread minerals and nutrients. I'm just bringing this up because, like, it's like you're cheating the same as people with logic in any game, even when you've gone into ZPS with me, and you're acting like as if there isn't this logic here where I do like you, I do really, really like you, but I can't like anybody that doesn't match up to certain physical values. And that includes, like, I believe in a free world where anybody can get a camera. And I don't think that the freedom of access to cameras has ever hurt anybody. I think that degenerates they'll invent their own cameras if they need to. They'll go to a foreign country. They'll design some sort of shitty camera themselves. They'll steal cameras. There's no way of stopping people from making shitty TV shows. And those big productions that Soda Cat you're talking about, it's the same thing with video games. They would be doing that anyways, even if the technology was much worse, like making endless Assassin's Creeds and Call of Duties that aren't really official, different teams, simply because it's already been established. And this is the really important part. They do have a bunch of people there. The stupid production values you're seeing, who do you see that doesn't have like 5 people working lights and shit? It's cultism. It's cultism, plain and simple. The same cultism that makes it to where, and I'm talking to you, Soda Cat, because I want you to understand why I hate the porn industry. It's personally offended my eyes, my brain, my daily existence. Now, you have one bald dude who's doing, and this makes sense to you, all of the gay porn. He did it for fucking forever. He's probably dead now, finally, of cancer. He can't ejaculate. He blocked all of his hormones with infinite steroids. And he gets to have sex with all these women, too, and cross over this market, even though he's obviously homosexual and hideous. He's even worse than this guy in the Brazilian market, who just acts like as if, once again, like as if they're the only people in the market. It's why I'm telling you this. Like, people will have companies and other people rip off the theme of their companies, everything that they're doing, and they just say, I don't care that you're trying to release porn. I'm trying to block porn with soulless, like, there's not enough hormones to make the body hot, like pale-skinned, bald assholes. That's why I was telling you not to take chemical hormone therapy, because I assume it's an ester from human bodies, even if it's human sweat glands. You don't replace human hormones with human hormones. Everybody knows it would be better off to take animal hormone therapy, or concentrated hops, estro 8 pen, or the equivalency. They do have an effect over time. They will give you the same lame results, including wild yam cream for your chest, that rubbing some sort of terrible chemical will on there. Wild yam cream will give you tiny man titties. That's why guys don't rub it on their chest, you know? So my point here is this all wraps into the same thing, which is just, I don't need you, in the same way like Sherlock Holmes logic that you're refusing to accept, defending, and this goes for everybody young like you, the concept that nobody deserves cameras because there's currently a lot of people that are super big assholes that act like as if nobody deserves a camera while they're mass-produced garbage. I mean, I had a hard time getting a hold of an old mirrorless, or if it even is mirrorless, camera from like 2011. And that's over 10 years old. It's like 15 years old now or so. Like, it's disgusting and it's absurd. And when you just say things and say people don't deserve things because it makes you feel good inside, you're like the Cheshire Cat of evil. You're letting your, like, expression break into the smug of your skull, destroying yourself emotionally and physically for some cheap, quick thrills of acting like as if you have a current opinion that's super edgy and that people will be mad. But they're less mad and more just disappointed. Like, I don't have anything to say in particular, as much as I do just have to say, this is every category in life. Everybody does this. For example, movie making companies. I'm going to do this. Briefly touch on this as one last example. People will say that DC Universe films are better than Marvel films, while at the same time saying that they're not juvenile or anything, but they have the same level of humor. And just recently Black Adam came out, and it's literally like, of course there's another guy that he uses his atoms in a different way. He's not Ant-Man, to increase and decrease in size, like the distance between them or something. I don't know. Ant-Man's not doing that. He's like quantum changing his cells or something. I don't know. The comics have two different versions or they wouldn't exist. The point is, same type of Ant-Man comedy, like as if even the style, which is why I'm saying, I'm not trying to say they're ripping anything off. It's just truth. Like, it's logic. You're looking at it. He hits into the big guy and he says some sort of stupid quip, and he's even talking in this lighter vocal tone, like as if he's Ant-Man. And I don't want to say this. This is why I'm saying this. This is why I made Super Pets. That DC films are somehow run by people. I don't want that to be true. I love the cartoons growing up, but live action is terrible. It's run by CW, basically. They're CWWB. They just say that everything needs to be Buffy the Vampire Slayer mixed with Dawson's Creek and One Tree Hill and Gossip Girl a little bit even sometimes. And it's all just the negativity. What am I trying to say here? And they act like they won't allow anybody to work for DC. And here's the really big part. That could make anything decent, like how, like, even though I haven't been paid, say, no, even with the scraps of what you've done with Marvel, there's already a multiverse. That's what's established with Marvel. And DC has multiple different endless Earths. I guess like as if copies of the same planet everywhere else, you'd assume too in the universe, which is like saying that the matter is copied, but not the actual universe itself, only the matter or something, so planets could have different things. It's kind of an interesting idea, and it goes for a different concept, but the point is the same. I can't write live action, and I refuse to anyways, because DC's wronged me with every one of their movies by not being fun, by purposely ripping off Marvel, that I just can't say that they're good. And I don't think that I ever really will. I can't say that I'm excited for more live action DC. Aquaman somehow managed to be good, so maybe I'm excited for that. Or maybe I'm excited for live action Flash, but maybe I'm not, because it all depends upon what they're delivering. You have to understand. It's not like I'm going to continue any of this either. I'm not going to continue to play bad video games. This is what I'm closing with. I'm not going to continue to, make movies that I'm not getting paid for. I'm just proving once again that everyone else is wrong, because this is why I'm connecting this. If adults are so intelligent, then why am I making all movies for children that are Marvel? And why do the adults complain that they're too not serious, and you never get to hear a child's opinion? Oh, except unless they've been given a script, look like they're wearing a suit and tie and are like an old man, you know what I mean? And sound like it too, you know what I mean? Unless they've been coached by, and it'll be obvious, it's always obvious. Don't do that, Marvel. Don't say... You see my point. Like, it'd be creepy, people would see it, they'd know. So they never do that either. And if they did it now, people would say, I can't believe you. I can't believe that you're actually taking your comic book fandom and trying to manipulate children into saying that they like something more, as if that'll stop movies from being produced either. That's why I'm saying, why I bring this up is, no. Marvel films are based off of the actors involved with the films, children liking the movies. It's the same with anything, with Fortnite. Children liked Fortnite, so it got more attention, and it started bringing in every other franchise's interest, because the children, everything is kind of blurs to them. They want everything in one game. But when the game stops appealing to their interests, like DC Universe does, there's no more reason to play the game. You wouldn't. No one would. It's like me walking in and saying, oh boy, I can't wait to watch a darker, grittier Batman movie over and over again. Except that's all of DC. Everything is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, as if it's dark and gritty while it's not taking itself seriously. And I can't handle it. I mean, you have a problem with these movies? Don't look even at me. The children of these actors... Or else they could even say something on video. That's why I was promoting everybody's children to, be invested in their parents' movies and play a small role if they want to. Because it's their movies. DC are people's movies who went to college, who never grew up past 12. They're not movies for children. And so no matter what decisions are made for Marvel, even if it's Thor being sexy and having his clothes ripped off, children are attracted to that. You're not allowed to say that children aren't allowed to see muscles. They're not allowed to see woman, man-ass, side boob, because that's not murder. That's a joke. It's, even if it wasn't a joke, it's not inappropriate. How is it inappropriate to see romantic people struggling to find somebody or to do something like Thor was in there? I mean, scene was even handled with care, and that's the same thing I'm talking about with video games. Why does everybody think that there gets to be video games like Scorn, which is nothing but unpleasantness? It's just a game of just twisted everything being in itself, like, lamer Resident Evil or something. Like, it's just a tar ooze with infinite parasites. And they get to make all these gross games where there's literally no plot even. You just walk around. I've seen people play it. And then they say, but you're not allowed to, have fighting games anymore, like the new Street Fighter 6, where Chun-Li has muscles, even if they're fake, which is why I was promoting Marvel to just CG your muscles and focus on cardio so you can do stunts on wires. I'm not approving of steroiding. I'm not promoting it to children. I'm saying that absurdism has its place, and that children, better than adults, like we've already seen, don't emotionally overreact to jokes. They don't overly react to things being lighthearted, and they're the ones that want to see fantasy muscles. We're not going to block children from doing that. That's Dragon Ball Z. All the autistic adults want Dragon Ball Z too, and they expect people not to be roided for it. I'm begging, because Zac Efron, and I know there's a ton of male actors that think that they just get to somehow get that big through roids instead of even herbal steroids from different plants. Just don't do it. Just get big decently, get a surfer body, get a rope climbing body, like a rock climber body, from actually doing those actions. And then just wear the CG. Just let them inflate your muscles to the point evenly to where they look pretty cool. But of course I know none of this is going to happen, just like nobody's going to stop cheating at video games, just like how they're going to keep speaking for children when it comes to the active playability of video games. It's all one enormous thing. Adults are man children, all of them. Accepted adults. I know you're watching me. Shut the fuck up, anybody's parents. Shut the fuck up, anybody who likes comic book movies. They were stupid to begin with. You should be rewarded that you're getting to watch something. And when you complain, I assume you just can't see the CG because it's not LiDAR. And I really have a problem with that, because how much sulfur are you concentrating out of your urinary system through your organs in your body to make that much uranium go to your eyes? You're like shooting beams of ionized light. There's this diagram. This is how I know. They're isotoping urine in their brain. It's killing them. They're hyper aging. They're getting Alzheimer's. Anybody doing this? Because he took a small piece of like bare level uranium. It might have even been like sulfur mostly. And he put it in like a nitrogen reaction chamber. And inside of this glass chamber, so you can see it sideways, it shoots off these lines like sort of like LiDAR, like actively doing it. Like how it's done in the air, proving it's just uranium, because I live in the West, near the Nevada test site, still interacting, coming off the ground, in the air, because jet trails will leave behind, nitrogen because of the flaming heat reaction to the cold of the air, and that will expand with the small amounts of uranium blowing off of dust hills, even sulfur. It's a reaction inside of the brain to being completely blind. I know this 100% now, and I have a solution, which I will upload, even though I hate everybody, because I'm going to get better lighting in video games in anything I'm watching, no matter what. Just like I'm going to solve this video game hacking issue, even if it means nobody plays anymore. Because when somebody goes to play, they deserve to be playing against somebody real. Even if it's 20 years from now, and there's more children that have turned into teenagers, and there's a new fucking, video game world out there, they don't deserve this. This is blatant hacking. This is blatant modifications of films. And it's just a blatant society that acts like as if they've seen it, they can fuck you over, even if it makes it to where they never remember. They have so much Alzheimer's. Like, they never remember it being good, is what I'm saying. They don't care. And it's disappointing. And there's nothing I can do about it, really, other than just try to tell people to be clean and work hard and take vacations as frequently as possible, because hard work